Before Islam in Kabul was Hinduism. Balkh in Bukhara, you had Buddhism. Now, my question is, which religion did the Pashtuns have? For example, we have a Pashtun tribe called the Mangal tribe. I hope you find more. A great question. What was the original religion of the Pashtun people? Who are the Pashtun people? Who are the true Afghans? There are various ways of looking at Afghanistan. Historically, like you are correctly saying, historically, Afghanistan was called Gandhar. The whole region was called Gandhar. Later on, it was called Khorasan. Various words for it. But the original name of the region was Gandhar. And the people who lived there were Indians. And their descendants are the Pashtuns. That is what I can say in brief, but we'll look into this in more detail, obviously. So you have a Pashtun clan called the Mangal clan. You have so many names in Afghanistan which are descended from Indian names, right? If you look at the Pashtun culture, if you look at Pashtun Wali, the code of conduct of the Pashtuns, it is essentially, if you remove the religious elements, the Islamic elements from it, it is nothing but the code of conduct of the Rajputs. It's the same thing. If someone comes to your house as a guest and asks for your protection, then you have to, if required, give your life to protect the person. That is the Rajput code of conduct. It's also the Pashtun code of conduct, isn't it? Now let's look at. See, there's very little. There's very little hard research, academic research that's been done. One thing I can tell you, I don't have the evidence right now, but I've shown that in past episodes a long time ago, the Pashtun DNA, if you look at that, the Pashtuns are essentially an extension of the North Indian population genetically. Now, today, if you look at Afghanistan's genetics, there's so many genetics that are non-Indian in there. You have so many ethnic groups that are not Indian, not of Indian origin, of Turkic origin. The Tajiks are not Turkic, they are Indo-Iranian, that's different. But the Turkmens, the Uzbeks, the Hazaras, these are all non-Indian. And those genetics have introgressed into Afghanistan and even entered the Pashtun lineages. So if we do Pashtun genetics today, it's going to be a mixed bag. But if you did Pashtun genetics 1,000 years ago, it was all Indian. Now let's look at this this research paper by an Afghan historian. So it's by a gentleman called Arif Akhundzada on Pashtuns and Pashto in Gandhar, with a brief essay on Pashtun Afghan ethnogenesis. Now let's look at the actual PDF, right? So this is the PDF, and according to him, Pashto is primarily a Saka or Scythian language. Okay, as you say, if you say so, it's, in my opinion, more of a Dardic language. It has deep linkages with existing dialects in the Pamiri language groups such as Yigda, Munji, spoken in North Chitral, and to its west, it has a close cognatic Persian ancient holy language of Western. Okay, all of that, etc. Gandhar. The Sakas ruled in Gandhar for a decade or two. Their influence is negligible except for the coins of their 4 Hindu kings. All of that. Besides Iranian roots and legacies, Pashto also owes a great deal in formative acquisitions and characteristics to the local Indic Prakrit in ancient Dardic dialects, the formers being the predecessors of current living languages such as Hindko, Punjabi, and Saraki. We have to identify which ethnicities occupied and controlled Gandhar, especially during the last 1500 years after the fall of Imperial Persia to Iran, to Islam, of which it was a key province. The name Gandhar has disappeared off the radar about 1,000 years ago after we know that, with the arrival of Mahmud of Ghazni. Its ancient ethnic composition remained relatively undisturbed for the next 500 years after him, until the advent of the Mughals in 1526, and they messed up the genetics after that. So, the most ancient population of Afghanistan was Indic or Hindki, which spoke Prakrit dialects, now known as Hindko and Punjabi. And then you have Cyrus of Persia and so on. And you have the Pakhtas, the Pakhtians, the Pakhtas of the Herodotus and the Rig Veda, respectively. People who were to later give a Scythian language the name of Pakhto, and so on. So you can check this out. This goes into significant detail. They talk about the Scythians and the Pashtun Afghan ethnicity. It arose long after 1526 with the Mughal Empire. The Paktas were mentioned in the Rig Veda also by Herodotus, and so on. The name of the major and dominant Afghan tribal division, the Sarabani, is believed to have a Rajput origin from Suryaban or Suryavanshi. So the Sarabani Afghan tribe or clan is a Suryavanshi tribe, and the legend of their alleged Jewish origins is it's a myth. Okay, it's a myth that has been introduced into Afghanistan at a much later date, and so on. So it's a long story, and that is the deal about Afghanistan and the origins of the Pashtos. The Pashtos were originally warrior clans of India. Some of them were royal lineages, Suryavanshis. Okay, and over time they have been Islamized, obviously, in the past 1,000 years. Especially those who were Buddhists, they Islamized on the drop of a hat. The remaining ones, they resisted as long as they could, even until the 20th century, and even the beginning of the 21st century. You had significant Hindu and Sikh population in Gandhara, Afghanistan, and today it's not quite the case so much. So, like I said, the historical name of the region was Gandhar. Later, because of Persian and Turkic influences, mainly Persian influences, the region was called Khorasan. Now, what does Khorasan mean? What does Khurshid mean? There's this Persian name called Khurshid, right? The word Khurshid comes from Swara Kshet. Swara means the sun. Kshet means shining. Khurshid means shining sun. If you ask a Parsi person or Persian person, what does the word Khurshid mean? They'll say it means the sun. You can Google it and check it out. You can fact check what I'm saying. What does Khurshid mean? Let's see right now. Meaning of the name Khurshid. Okay. Of the name Khurshid. It means sun or radiant sun. Okay. Swarakshet. It's not Persian. It is before Persian. It was Sanskrit. Swarakshet. Swarakshet became Khurshid. What is the origin of Khorasan? Swarasthan, the land of the sun. Very similar to Saurashtra, solar land, solar kingdom. Khorasan was Swarasthan, the land of the sun, the eastern land, the land where the sun rose. That's what Khorasan meant. It had the same name as Saurashtra, which is further south. So these are the ancient connections between Bharatvarsh and Gandhar, of which Gandhar was obviously a part of Bharatvarsh. And the Pashtuns, well, they're our own people, actually speaking. Even today, the Pashtuns aren't like foreigners. Our culture, our way of life, everything is very similar. You meet a Pashtun person, that person will never feel like a foreigner to you if you're Indian. You won't feel like it's a foreigner you're dealing with. You understand each other immediately, right? Because deeper down, you have the same cultural origins. So that's the deal with the Pashtuns.